I developed a method to quit sissy porn forever with no relapses in only 5 easy steps. This method is easy to adopt and anyone can use it. As long as you stick to some simple instructions, it will work no matter how lost and confused you feel. If you follow these steps, you can quit sissy porn forever and never worry about relapses. Step 1. Understand the addiction. The addiction is not a cause, but a symptom. Sissy porn addiction makes you feel very uncomfortable, especially immediately after consuming porn. Because of the discomfort we feel from the addiction, and because of the lack of control we have when urges appear, our mind strongly believes that the addiction is the cause of our miserable condition. But what if I told you that the addiction is nothing other than a coping mechanism? The key insight I learned when I was trying to escape my addiction is that sissy porn addiction is just a symptom and not the cause of our discomfort. I realized this after relapsing countless times. I was so desperate that I started reading every addiction recovery book out there and tried every method possible to quit. During all my efforts, I noticed a common thread between some of the most effective addiction recovery techniques. All the effective approaches treat the addiction as a symptom of a traumatic event. I didn't really believe it at first. However, the more I treated the addiction as a symptom of a traumatic event, the more I made progress in quitting. At first, it's difficult to grasp that some unrecalled traumatic events are having a continuous negative effect on our present life. Also, the propaganda surrounding traumatic experience treatment creates a misconception that the effect of trauma only succeeds a traumatic event immediately after it happens. The secret behind sissy porn addiction is that we have experienced trauma that left a strong imprint within us, and whenever the imprinting of this traumatic event resurfaces, we react by consuming sissy porn. Sissy porn, and addiction in general, is only one way we react to the constantly reappearing discomfort of trauma. If you want to understand in detail how trauma stays within us until we do something about it, you can read Waking the Tiger by Peter Levine or my Quit Sissy Porn guidebook you find in the description. However, for now, the only thing we need to know is that our addiction is a coping mechanism of discomfort caused by trauma, a mere symptom. That's why it feels so hard to quit by only focusing on the addiction, because fiddling with the symptom is not going to work. We have to address the root cause. Step 2 is to process emotional triggers. Now we need to release the emotional discomfort caused by our trauma by confronting it. To understand this step, we have to think of everything we experience in life as holding some form of energy. It's easy to visualize the energy our body experiences when we think about experiences that involve fast movement. For example, when we ride a bike or skydive, or even go for a run, we can easily understand the energy we feel when we experience these activities. When this energy remains within us, we call this imprinted energy, and is the reason behind all our discomfort. This energy will naturally try to exit our body and will resurface from time to time to try to be integrated and exit. However, because it carries the discomfort associated with a traumatic event, whenever it appears, we unconsciously react and try to suppress it as quickly as possible. This is why we develop addictions as a coping mechanism. Among many other behavioral and physical aspects we form as a result of our imprinted traumatic energy. But how do we stop this unconscious behavior? We have to process the discomfort when it arises, instead of quickly reacting to it. Every time we feel overwhelmed by discomfort, for example, when we feel the urges to consume porn, we try to close our eyes and focus on the emotions we experience. We don't try to stop them or change them. We simply stay with them as they manifest for as long as we can. By doing this, we will start to notice emotional triggers that we seemingly never saw before, but have always been there. The tricky part is that our coping mechanism doesn't always follow an emotional trigger. Sometimes an emotional trigger can appear hours or even days before we engage in our coping mechanism. Step 3. Integrating discomfort. Now that we know the cause of our addiction, we need to integrate the discomfort of our past trauma that manifests in the present through emotional triggers. Everyone can do this from anywhere, and it doesn't require any tool or knowledge. The secret to integrate trauma-induced discomfort and all its consequences is breathing. We practice a 15-minute breathing meditation exercise twice a day. We do this as soon as we wake up and as close as possible before bedtime, every day. To practice this exercise, we just need to sit on a cushioned but firm surface, ideally a yoga mat, with our legs crossed, just like in a meditating position. Close our eyes and take long, deep breaths without pausing in between inhalation and exhalation. While we breathe, we mentally repeat, "I am here now in this." With each breath, we repeat one word, For example, when we inhale I, then exhale am, and so on. This breathing exercise allows us to anchor ourselves in the present and slowly prevent our mind from racing with thoughts. When we clear our minds from all unwanted thoughts, our emotional triggers become more apparent and easier to deal with. The goal is to breathe no matter what comes to our mind. It sounds very simple, but you will notice when you start this routine that your mind and body will try to distract you in countless ways while you sit for the 15-minute breathing techniques. This is because when we clear all mental noise, we are left with the uncomfortable trauma energy, and our reaction is to try to suppress it immediately. The secret is that if we avoid constructing mental stories and gradually confront our trauma, we will always be able to integrate it. Step 4. Replace bad habits. The first 3 steps alone are enough to make a big impact on the addiction. However, our environment plays a big role in emotional integration. That's why we are going to set up our environments to help us stay consistent and focus on our goal to quit sissy porn by constantly reminding us to process emotional triggers rather than reacting by consuming porn. We optimize our environment by arranging constant positive reminders. For example, if we sometimes forget to attend a breathing session in the morning, we put the yoga mat in front of the room we are going to enter after waking up, like in the middle of the kitchen or living room. So we will be reminded to attend the session when we bump into the mat. Rearranging our environment takes some practice. The mindset we should have is to make our environment as optimized as possible, so laziness and procrastination doesn't take place and hinder our progress. Having a positively set up environment also helps us reduce consumption, as we are less likely to consume porn when we have no dead time. Step 5. Shape our relationships. To get faster and consistent progress, we need to change the places and peoples we spend time with. If we keep spending time with a group of people that enables us to be addicted to sissy porn, we are always going to make 1 step forward and 2 backwards. We should immediately stop any form of contact with anyone that tells us that our addiction is not bad or is nothing we should work on. This includes leaving any platform where we get half-baked advice on how to quit. If we follow these steps consistently, you will start to see results. And in 1 year's time from now, you will be completely free of sissy porn with no relapses and will restore back your confidence and masculinity. I will leave a free PDF transcript of this video in the description. If you want to achieve results faster, I wrote a guidebook where I go into more details on each and every step you should take daily. I condensed all the knowledge I collected in the last 5 years in this guidebook and developed an approach that creates results within 10 weeks' time. You can find the guidebook in the link in description.